what's up, YouTube? Welcome back. Your boy is back, and we're going to talk about how to destroy these Tearalements. They are everywhere. They are running the show, but we're going to come up with some counter strategies, some good ideas, and we're going to come back hitting hard. Let's get into the video. All right, so I don't really have these guys in any order of like best to great, so I'm going to kind of explain that as we go through. Obviously, it's in alphabetical order and card rarity or whatever. DD Crow, good. Um, Pretty good if you're in a mirror match. I mean, you kind of can't use some of the cards because you're in a mirror match. It's good. Some cards you can't really utilize on this list if you're playing Tearalements as well. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Let's go over here to Max C. Max C is super good because obviously they special summon a lot. You have the Shizus and the Tearalements that are special summoning. So Max C, obviously a staple right now in all of Master Duel. Now you have Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. So basically in a mirror match, this is also a card you want to be utilizing. You show your Tearalement, you show your Tearalement fusion deck extra cards and banish their extra deck cards. So you can't go wrong with that in a mirror match. So that's something you can consider. What else do we got? I do want to put back a card that just left by accident. So bear with me just 1 second. It was one of the Tearalements. This one. So yeah, if you wanted to get rid of one of those, or even this one right here, this Winter Cherries would be a great addition just to knock out their boss monster, and then you would be safe to keep going on with your moves. Ash Blossoms, obvious. They send from the deck to the grave, so if you want to stop some of the Shizu cards, stopping the 5, huge play. Then you got Ghost Bell. Ghost Bell, whenever cards activate in the graveyard, that special summons from the graveyard or banishes cards or adds them from the deck or from the graveyard back to the hand or deck. So Haunted Mantis, you can do exactly the same thing as all of them. Then you have Skullmeister. He is pretty good. Whenever a card activates in the graveyard, you can just ditch him. So these are all the ones that I kind of already mentioned off in the beginning are for the mirror match. So if you're planning on playing Tearalements and you already know you're going to be facing a lot of other Tearalements, got to run some of those cards. Those cards are going to be really good and giving you the edge in the mirror match. Next off, I got these guys up in here because Rivalry. Rivalry, actually, depending on what kind of deck you're playing, if you're playing a back row heavy deck, you can put in Rivalry because you have Aqua, you have Warrior, the big girl is a Fiend. This one's a Fiend and Aqua, so they can't even be on board at the same time. And then depending on if you have the little girls on board, they can't really get into the bigger ones depending on what order you have. So that's why those two are there with the Rivalry. Then you have Dimension Shifter. He's really good. If your deck can run it, you got to run it because it's just going to be a good card. It's at 2, which kind of makes it hard to like really utilize it. And you have to have no cards in your graveyard, so that's kind of like after turn 1 or 2 or 3, you're gonna have trouble with that. So something to consider. Flanderies definitely should play it because their cards never go to the grave. Triple Tactic Talents, just good in general. That's just gonna keep constantly. It's gonna allow you to stay in the game longer, depending on what deck you're playing. Dimensional Fissure kicks butt. They will get banished. However, I don't know if it's going to activate from deck. I think it has to go from... No, because it would still go... Yep, so even if it was coming from the grave, it would still get out of play. Super Poly, this is underrated. If you're doing a mirror match, you have to be running Super Poly. Too good. And even if you're not running the mirror match, you still have other cards you can summon. You can take 2 of their dark monsters, make Venom. That's going to be a Raigeki when they destroy it. Or you can do a 1 fusion and 1 dark monster. Get this Predator Plant guy out here. He's going to allow you to negate 1 effect per turn. So you can use Super Poly, steal 2 of their monsters, and then summon your Predator Plant, and then have a walking negate once per turn. Super good if you're playing Despias, obviously, or Branded. You can, Super Poly is going to be good for those. And then obviously the mirror match. So Super Poly is super good. Then you have Silent Graveyard. Silent Graveyard, super boss card because it's a quick play. Quick plays are super versatile, allows you to manipulate the game in so many ways. So discarding one card, negate the effects or the activation in Graveyard this turn are negated. The effects of activated effects are negated. Pretty good. Obviously, Call by the Grave. You should always run those two just to stop hand traps in general, and then also you can use that when they're milling and hit some of their key targets and prevent them from coming back in the game. Obviously, you have different dimensional grounds. That's a good card if your deck's used to going first. Probably play a few of those. Evenly matched, why not? It's decent. Depending on if they have the field card, they can get exposed, and then they're trap cards. You can hit the trap cards. So evenly is pretty good, actually. Imperm, Imperm is just Imperm. You got to play Imperm. Super good hand trap. And then you can also shut down some things on when you have to set it, which is also a really good utilization of the card. Rivalry, already talked about that. Macrocosmos, if you don't care about your graveyard, you should be playing Dimension Shifter, Macrocosmos, D-Fissure, Dimensional Grounds, all these cards to get rid of cards that go to the graveyard. Shadow Imprisoning Mirror is decent. Um, it's decent because some of them are water. Not all of them are dark. So you won't get too much value off of it. A little bit, but it's not going to be like crazy amount, but it's going to do something. And then you have honorable cards like Nibiru. Nibiru is going to slow them down, but not really hurt them. Uh, you know, uh, Dark Ruler no more. Same thing. You're going to get past the board. Is it going to progress you through the game state a lot much further than some of these other cards? Maybe not. And then you have, Forbidden Droplet also is decent. These cards aren't like make or break. They don't really. Drill and Lockbird is something you can use. Why not? Drill and Lockbird. I don't think it would be that useful, depending on the variant, but I probably wouldn't play Drill and Lockbird. I like the lineup. One card I do want to kind of consider being able to summon out easily is Herald of the Arc Light. So ways that I can get to Herald of the Arc Light, depending on which build you're running or what deck you're running. That's a really good card. It's from hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead. All cards, even traps and spells. And then it's a negate. It's an automatic Omni negate as well. So obviously they can just normal summon attack over it, but that takes up the turn. That puts you in a better state later. And then obviously you have the Abyss Dweller, Abyss Dweller, something every deck can almost run. 2 level 4s. Go ahead and make sure you get that. Get it in your arsenal. It's gonna also pay off a little bit. There was also the other one too that I liked. It's the level 4 or ranked 4 guy who. It's like the sleeping guy who you set in defense, and then all their monsters get switched to defense, and then the effects get negated. I did use that once late game. Allowed me to come back and gave me some time to come back. They didn't have their trap card that negates an effect once per turn, so that was pretty cool to see happen. So this is kind of the little rundown I got going on right now. Some decks that just do really good against it is Flanderies. My Plunder Patrol hasn't been doing too bad. What else? You probably want to play the mirror match, obviously. If there's a variant of the Shadal variants are kind of cool too. They're not the best one. But yeah, let me know what you think. If there's any other cards that I really missed in here that you think are going to be very beneficial, can drop a comment on the bottom. We're going to have to tackle this, this new meta for a while, and we want to make sure that we're on our toes, playing the best that we can, and staying positive and diamond, and constantly keep having those good games. I love it. Love this game. Can't say enough more about that. So I really do appreciate you tuning in. Let's go out there and get some W's.